FDI statistics for African countries are difficult to compare because of different definitions and ways in which the data have been collected. Drawing on a 2015 Ernst & Young report on Africa, one can come to the following generalizations. From 2005 through 2014, Western European countries consistently provided well over 1/3 of annual FDI projects in Africa. North America dropped from 25% of projects in 2005 to 15% in 2014. Projects funded by other African countries rose from 9% in 2005 to 19% in 2014, underscoring the role that the African countries themselves are playing in all of this. The number of projects from the Asia-Pacific region varied between 15% and 18%, and that includes the Chinese figures. Projects from the Middle East averaged about 9%, from the rest of Europe, Eastern Europe basically, between 1% and 4%, and from Latin America, less than 1%. U.S. companies have traditionally been the most important FDI investors in Africa, adding since 2007 some 700 projects valued at $53 billion. In 2014, the number of new projects, by number of new projects, the UK and South African investors were nipping at the heels of American companies tied for second place. The next most important countries in order were the United Arab Emirates, France, Germany, China, India, Portugal, and Spain. The UAE was significant because it was not only fourth in terms of new projects in 2014, but first in terms of the dollar amount invested, most of it in North Africa. In 2014, the Gulf states increased their share of African FDI projects to 9%. Chinese companies announced 32 FDI projects valued at $6 billion, although it is not unusual that some of these announcements never materialize. Looking over the next 10 years, Western European and North American companies will continue to be the most important investors in Africa. China, India, several other emerging Asian nations, and several of the Gulf states, depending upon the price of oil, will increase their share of projects and annual FDI flows to Africa, but they will not pass the traditional donors or traditional investors. While there is a growing tendency in some African countries to believe most of the FDI opportunities will come from Asia, they would make a huge mistake to ignore traditional investment partners in Europe and North America.